Hello, everybody. Mr. Sexton's trying a new toy, so you'll have to bear with me. But we are going to talk about three different situations that come up in today's work. This is all technically review, but it's been a while since we've looked at this. So I don't know about you, but I need to go over it again. We're talking about first this situation here where we've got cubes. We've got a rectangular prism. That means it's made up of one shape and it's the same shape on the opposite side. Those two sides are connected by straight lines. And in this case, it's been built out of these unit cubes. With these, we have to try and decide how many unit cubes did it take to make this. Well, let's see. Our formula says that volume, trying to write on this digitator pad. It works kind of. I'm going to take some practice though. All right. Volume equals the length times, wait a minute, let's see if I can use this tool to do something slick, times the width times the height. We'll make that blue because blue is nice. All right, length times width times height. Well, in this case, my height, or my length, refers to, I'm going to call this my length, right? Straight here across the front. So across the front, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes. So my volume is going to be equal to 6 cubes by a width of, it's getting slicker as we get better. I'm going to call this my width right here. So that's 1, 2, 3. I've got a width of 3 cubes. This has to get better as I get better at it, right? And I've got a height of, let's see if I can make this work. There we go. A height of, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3 cubes high. So that is 3 cubes, right? So that means that my volume calculation is going to be 6 times 3 times 3. Well, let's see. 6 times 3, that's just 18, right? And then 18 times 3 is going to be, I don't have my 18s memorized. I have to figure it out. 3 times 8, right? That's 24. Carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So that means this is a total of 54 cubic, so hard, units. Okay? Now remember, it's 54 cubic units. Without the cubic units in there, it doesn't mean anything. I could also write that as 54 units cubed, if I like to abbreviate. But this is not 54 inches. It's not 54 centimeters. It's 54 cubic units. Now, when we're dealing with something that you can see all the cubes, it's easy to remember that that's what I have, 54 of these cubes. But when we move on to another way of looking at volume, that's still true. Let's look at these. Again, my formula is for volume is length times width times height. So my volume is going to be equal to, over here, my length is 10. See this right here? This is 10. What is it 10 of? That's an M, that's meters. So my volume is going to be 10 meters times width is going to be this right here. 3 meters. So that's 3 meters times. And my height is how tall it is. That's this right here. And that is 7 meters. So my volume is equal to 10 times 3 times 7. Well, 10 times 3, that's 30, right? And 30 times 7, well, 3 times 7 is, what is that, 21? So that means 30 times 7 has to be 210. So that means that this is equal to 210 meters cubed. Don't forget the cubed. It's not 210 meters. It's 210 meters cubed. See up here we've got meters times meters times meters. There's 3 meters multiplied together, meters cubed. Just like before when we looked at the other piece, we had 54 of these cubic units. And even though we can't see the cubic units in the diagram, that still is what we're talking about. We're talking about cubic units that are 1 meter on a side. It would take 210 of them to fill in this box, right? Now let's look at another one. We're going to go through another one really quickly. If I can get this to work. Everybody likes purple, right? All right, so again, my formula is volume equals length times width times height. I am starting to get a little better at that, which means my length is going to be, I'm going to call this my length right here. My length is 8 inches. So my length is 8 inches. Okay, now my width is going to be this right across here, which is 4 inches times, and my height is going to be how tall it is. So how tall is it? 8 inches. So this becomes 8 inches. Oh, maybe if I turn this thing around, it'll be easier to work with. I'm going to try something else. Okay, now that means 8 times 4 times 8. Well, what is 8 times 4? Well, 2 eighths is 16, so 4 eighths has to be 2 16ths. So to my mind, that makes 8 times 4, 32, right? Times this 8. Now 8 times 32, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't even try to do that one in my head. I would just come over here with a pencil and go 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 1 is 25. So I get a total volume of 256 inches cubed. That means that it would take 256, make that a little easier to see, 256 cubes that were 1 inches on a side. It would take 256 of them to build this prism. Okay? Is this starting to ring any bells? This is the stuff we were doing when we were working together last. And here's one last example I want to show you. This is what I call working backwards. In this case, they've actually told you that this tank is 96 cubic yards of water. And they're asking you which of these 3 possible sets of dimensions, these 4 possible sets of dimensions, could possibly be correct for this tank. So we know if our formula is, for volume, is length times width times height, then we know that these 3 numbers, the length, the width, and the height, multiplied together, should equal 96 cubic yards. So let's see. 8 times 4, that's just 32 again, isn't it? And then 32 times 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. Hey, is it possible the first one is the correct answer? Let's see. This would be 8 inches times 4 inches times 3 inches. That would be 96 cubic inches, wouldn't it? Is that what my tank of water is? No, it's not. This is 96 cubic yards, isn't it? Look at that. So they're trying to trick me here. This one cannot work because this is in inches and it has to be cubic yards. So let's come down to this one. 2 yards times 3 yards is 6 yards times 10. That's 60 yards. This one's 60 yards, right? The unit's correct, but is it the correct number of cubic yards? Nope. So this one doesn't work. What about this one? 5 yards times 5 yards, that's 25 yards. And 25 yards times 5 would be 125 cubic yards. 125 cubic yards, that doesn't work either. It's probably got to be this one, but let's double check and make sure that they're not giving us a trick question. Let's see, 8 yards times 4 yards. Again, that's 32. 32 times 3, just like we figured out up here. 32 times 3 is 96, so this is 96. But what's my units going to be? I got yards times yards times yards. That's yards cubed, 96 cubic yards. So this, go up here, because my answers in our work is all in red. This is the correct answer right here. Okay? All right. I look forward to hearing from you in office hours. If you got any questions, come see me. Thanks a lot. See you soon.